Okay, so picture this. You're standing on the street with absolutely $0 in your pocket. I mean, literally nothing. Not even enough to grab a candy bar or a bottle of water at the corner store. Now, imagine taking that absolute zero and somehow building a massive, multi-layered investment portfolio without asking for a single cent in upfront capital. No way, right? Well, today, we're diving into a source document that explores whether this is actually possible. And honestly, the strategy inside is incredibly fascinating. So let's unpack this really interesting piece of source material. What we have here is a brainstorming session between an entrepreneur and Google's Gemini AI. And together, they architected a completely free coaching business model designed to take people from literally $0 to owning real estate and tech stocks. It's called the $0 Wealth Blueprint. And look, the mechanics we're about to explore might just completely change how you view starting capital. Here's our roadmap for today's explainer. Number 1, mission, starting from zero. 2, the wealth building flywheel. 3, community and motivation. And finally, 4, profiting without charging fees. All right, kicking things off with section 1, mission, starting from zero. The entrepreneur in our source material noticed a profound problem, actually based on their own childhood experiences. There are people out there who literally don't even have a dollar or two to get basic necessities. It's a highly compelling problem to solve, but it begs the question, how on earth do you generate capital out of thin air for people who have nothing? Well, the answer lies in the smartphones already sitting in their pockets. By pairing 2 or 3 reward apps together, those apps where you watch short ads in exchange for a payout, the user can generate a starkly small but incredibly achievable $2 to $4 a day. And what makes this $2 starting point strategically brilliant is the psychology behind it. It requires absolutely zero financial investment, and it just leverages existing habits. I mean, almost everyone already spends time looking at screens, right? So redirecting just a fraction of that free time into reward apps creates immediate, verifiable cash flow without requiring the user to learn some complex new skill. But let's be real, nobody gets rich or reaches financial freedom just by making $2 a day. So the absolute crucial point is what happens next. And this relies on what's known as the flywheel effect. Basically, it's a system where small, consistent initial efforts build momentum, eventually creating a self-sustaining loop of compounding growth. So the coach's job in this business model isn't just to help people make a couple of bucks. It's to teach them exactly how to feed those small daily payouts into a strategic flywheel, so it turns into a self-sustainable income over time. It is all about turning a tiny, active trickle of cash into a passive, expanding reservoir. Moving on to section 2, the wealth building flywheel, the mechanics. Okay, here is the exact 4-step journey of the dollar, as mapped out in that AI brainstorm. Step 1, you watch ads on reward apps to build daily cash flow, which moves right into a bank account. Step 2, that money gets moved into a platform called Venice AI, a private AI network where users stake VVV tokens. Step 3, the profits generated from that crypto staking are funneled into Lofty, which is a platform for buying tokenized fractional real estate. And finally, step 4, the passive rental income generated from that real estate is used to buy high-growth Tesla stocks. Now let's pause here for a second and analyze why these specific platforms were chosen, because this is where the strategy really shines. For someone starting with absolutely zero, traditional real estate is completely out of reach. You need massive down payments, credit checks, the whole shebang. Fractional real estate platforms like Lofty totally change the game by allowing users to buy into cash-flowing properties for as little as $50. So the cash flows seamlessly from a phone screen into the higher risk but higher reward crypto space, stabilizes into tangible property, and finally scales right into the tech sector. Now, initially, the entrepreneur thought about putting the real estate step before the crypto step, but they pivoted during the brainstorm. And the AI completely validated this pivot, noting that by putting the higher-yielding Venice staking earlier in the flywheel, you're generating more significant initial returns that can then be funneled into Lofty. It's such a fascinating optimization. You use the potentially higher returns from crypto staking to accelerate the compounding effect early on. Because look, when you're dealing with very small amounts of initial capital, you need velocity. By taking on just a bit more volatility at the start of the journey, your clients can start accumulating stable cash-flowing real estate assets through Lofty much, much faster. And that brings us to the balance at the tail end of the flywheel. On the left, we have Lofty Real Estate, providing steady, passive rental income and equity. You are literally a fractional property owner, earning rent daily. On the right, we have Tesla stocks, representing dynamic, high-growth tech potential. So the steady, reliable yield of the real estate safely funds the high-growth innovation of Tesla. And this is an absolutely crucial takeaway for your own portfolio construction, whether you're starting with $0 or $100 grand.
Balancing cash-flowing, stable assets that act as an economic anchor with dynamic, high-growth equities provides both security and upside. You're perfectly diversified across different asset classes. And get this, in this specific model, that entire diversified portfolio is funded literally just by watching a few ads.
Which brings us to Section 3, Community and Motivation, Keeping Momentum. Now, the obvious psychological hurdle here is patience. How on earth does a coach keep clients motivated when they are only making $2 a day at the very beginning of the journey? To solve this, the entrepreneur and the AI decided on building a centralized Discord server. The architecture is simple but highly effective. You've got a general chat for easy communication and questions, a channel for announcements and updates from the coach, and, arguably most importantly, a dedicated wins channel.
So why is that wins channel the secret sauce? Well, the AI's advice on retention really taps into a fascinating quirk of human psychology. It noted that you need to break the process down into small, bite-sized goals and celebrate each win, no matter how small. When a user posts a screenshot of their first $2 payout or, their first fraction of a real estate token, it creates immense community proof. Visual trackers and shared celebrations trigger dopamine and just keep that momentum spinning. It proves to new members who just joined the server that the flywheel actually works in real time, basically transforming a lonely grind into a shared gamified victory.
All right, finally, Section 4, Profiting Without Charging Fees, the business model. Let's dive into the final twist of this blueprint. If the coach is helping clients for absolutely zero upfront cost, how do they run a profitable business? The answer is brilliant. They monetize the flywheel itself. As the client moves through the wealth building steps, they naturally need to sign up for these specific platforms. So the coach provides their own referral links to the community. When a user upgrades to Pro on Venice AI, both parties receive API credits. When they buy fractional property on Lofty using the link, the coach earns monthly recurring commissions. And when they use a platform like Robinhood to buy their Tesla stock, the coach gets sign-up cash and funded account bonuses. This back-end monetization is entirely crucial to the viability of the $0 entry fee. It's not a gimmick. It's just a creative application of established marketing mechanics. Companies are more than happy to pay a customer acquisition cost to affiliates who bring them active users. The coach simply acts as the bridge, capturing that marketing spend as revenue without ever taxing the user.
It creates a true win-win engine. Clients build wealth for absolutely free, while the coach earns passive affiliate income. Think about it. The coach never asks a client for a single dime, completely bypassing the usual friction of coaching sales. They simply build the map, support the community, and let the affiliate partnerships generate multi-stream passive income as the clients follow the blueprint. According to the Brainstorm, it's a framework that lets you offer genuine value and upward mobility to those starting with very little, while simultaneously building a highly scalable, profitable business for yourself.
Which leads us to our final takeaway, and honestly, a crucial question for you to ponder. How could you apply this zero upfront, affiliate-driven flywheel model to your own business ideas or passions? What platforms do you already know and love that you could string together into an engine of growth for others while monetizing strictly on the back end through referrals? This source material proves that the barrier to entry for scalable entrepreneurship might be way lower than we usually think. You just need the right blueprint and a little bit of momentum. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.